Growing up, my grandmother used to always say these saying stuff like, "What's in the dark will always come to the light. What doesn't come out in the wash is gonna always come out in the rinse." And that applies to these two right here. In the past few weeks, there's been several stories that's just been going under the radar because, of course, the UK media is going to focus on alleged flop shows, or they're going to focus on Harry not seeing his family. All the unnecessary stuff that is not relevant to what it really matters, and the stuff that really matters to why they're not seeing that family. And the stuff to why Meghan refuses to even come back to this country, or that country, rather. And what do you know? What doesn't come out in the wash does come out in the rinse. I do know, as Meghan and Harry supporters, that it's really hard sometimes with some of these stories because oftentimes the UK media is great at creating a frenzy without complete facts. It's just based off of speculation, but they're great at creating a frenzy for something. And in this case, they've been gaslighting Meghan and Harry going on 10 years with this whole race thing. Literally, it's going on 10 years. So for those who don't know, 5 Met police officers in the UK were charged with making very derogatory racist comments. Some about Meghan, and they were other stuff, comments they were making about other people, but the racist stuff stands out. So Peter Booth, 66, Robert Lewis, 62, Anthony Halson, 67, Alan Hall, 65, Trevor Lawton, 65. There's a pattern here. Because, as we all know, the group of people who typically hate Meghan and Harry are a particular age, a particular race, a particular gender. So these 5 men, or these 5 ex-police officers, pled guilty to committing offenses under the Communications Act of 2003. Now, I'm not too familiar with this act. I did a little research. I think it's the reason why they were charged is because they was making these type of comments and stuff under like public devices or something. If I'm wrong, guys, please correct me in the comments. Either way, they're racist as hell. This isn't the first time that Met police officers were caught up in the whole racist scandal, because just last year, 2 police officers were fired for making, yet again, vowed racist comments about Meghan Markle in a WhatsApp post. What is with the what? What? I find it weird that this story is not being talked about more in the UK. Like, it's not being mentioned on any of the main channels. Like, nothing. That is concerning. And as all this stuff was going on with the Met police, this black UK journalist, Dominic Samuels, exposed a whole system within the UK press that I never even heard of. So there's this thing in the UK called the Notting Hill Carnival. It's mostly black and brown people that's celebrating this, and I guess there was some violence, or people were getting hurt, and there was a lot of physical violence that was being committed. And so Dominique exposed that the Daily Mail, of course, was trying to get her to be the face of a ghost-written negative verging on racist piece. I'm going to say that again. They wanted her to be the face of a ghost-written piece or an article in their paper about this festival and talking about some of the violence that was happening, and she refused to do that. What? I have heard of ghost-written songs, ghost-written books, ghost-written, I don't know, scripts. I have never heard of a ghost-written news article. What is going on in the UK press? We need answers. So as she's tweeting all this, exposing the Daily Mail for this very weird, unethical practice, someone then went under her tweets and asked her, was this article that was written back in 2021 after the Oprah interview that she wrote about Meghan and Harry, stating that this clash of the royals was about culture, not color. So they asked her, was this ghostwritten? Here's her answer. Whew. Now, I remember this article, and I think at the time, as most of us thought, we were like, we knew it was tap dancing happening, because after this, we start seeing her on certain channels, GD News, the regulars. And then at some point, she just disappeared, and that typically happens when they need you, they use you to be a talking piece, and then they just throw you to the side. Unless she found Jesus, which I don't think she did, but well, maybe she did because she exposed all of this. So, congratulations. Good for you. So in this article that she allowed them to make her the face of, she criticized Meghan for, I guess, admitting that the Queen was always pleasant to her, but then in the same token, she says, how can you say or offer warm words for the Queen, but also in the same breath criticize the institution that she's the head of and call it racist? The same way, if I was working at a company and my boss, who was always kind to me, but at the same time I was dealing with racism from my supervisor or other people in the company, that's the same thing. Like, I mean, the Queen is the head, but she is not the institution. I don't see how that's a hard concept for people to comprehend. That there's more working people, there's other parts of the institution that's moving this wheel of royalty. So that right there was so. That's how you knew. That's how we should have known this is not her rightness, because no one black would say some stupid stuff like that. Well, except Candace Owens. She then proceeds to claim that there were questionable headlines in the media in the past about Meghan. She's saying this, mind you, for this Daily Mail article. Questionable headlines? Really, ma'am? You think? So since it's been exposed, there's been this whole big outrage or social media outrage, and now it's being investigated. I think from the Dan Wooten investigation to this investigation to the Mad Police, I'm tired of investigations and we don't get no answers. I'm tired that I don't even know what to say. I'm tired that a lot of the UK is allowing these people to constantly play in their face. The UK needs an overhaul. Like, they need to just like flip the rug, shake it out. Something needs to give. And as time goes on, more and more of what Meghan and Harry has been saying for years at this point is starting to show its ugly head, its ugly face, its ugly body, its ugly everything. But the question is, does the UK have a media in place where it won't be overshadowed by an already very powerful section of the media? Because right now, I just feel like the tabloid media is all of the UK media. So when anytime something is coming out or exposing them or exposing these powerful entities like the Mad Police, they all work hand in hand, and they just sweep it under the rug, and then nothing comes of it. Because at what point does the UK people finally just come together and just say enough is enough, this has to stop? Because stuff like this is only going to cause something much worse to happen.